A world leader appears on video, declaring war at a podium. It looks real, sounds real, and spreads before any newsroom can confirm. By sunrise, trading screens turn red and crowds react to a clip. Fear travels faster than verification, so perception becomes the first real shockwave. Now imagine deepfakes become truly undetectable overnight. Not convincing, but impossible to prove fake, even with the best forensic tools. To understand the damage, you have to define proof. Proof is a chain, identity, source, custody, and timing, moving through institutions that people still trust. Most people don't verify, they outsource trust to platforms and habits. We believe what a phone screen shows, then we act before doubt arrives. Newsrooms rely on metadata, distribution channels, and trusted contacts. If those signals fail, speed becomes the only competitive advantage, and speed punishes accuracy. Banks rely on voice calls, face scans, and behavior checks. If identity can be cloned, security becomes friction, and friction becomes delays that feel like punishment. Courts rely on recordings, body cams, and surveillance footage as exhibits. If video can be fabricated perfectly, evidence stops settling disputes and starts creating more disputes. This isn't about fake content online. It's about losing cheap trust, then paying for trust with time, paperwork, and control. Undetectable deepfakes weaponize the internet's amplifier. Algorithms reward outrage and urgency, so the most emotional version of a lie spreads first. Automation makes it worse, because one lie becomes thousands of variants. Different languages, different captions, different faces, optimized to trigger each audience segment. Before moving on to the targets, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you want more videos like this. The first fragile target is authority itself. If anyone can simulate leaders on a podium, legitimacy becomes something you can counterfeit at scale. Imagine a central bank governor appears on video announcing capital controls. An ATM line forms because waiting feels riskier than acting on a possible lie. Cash runs low, branches lock doors, and tension rises outside bank windows. The bank can't reassure anyone, because reassurance could be deepfake too. Now imagine a CEO confesses fraud in a studio clip with perfect audio. Traders sell first because verification takes longer than panic, and algorithms follow headlines. Within minutes, the market moves as if the confession were real. By the time the real CEO speaks, the price has already collapsed and trust is already damaged. The same logic hits emergency systems and public safety. A fake evacuation order on a city broadcast can redirect traffic into bottlenecks and cause real injuries. A fake police announcement can trigger crowds to gather in the wrong place. Once people move physically, the lie stops being digital and becomes operational. Now the divergence point arrives. Detection fails completely. No watermark works, no forensic signature holds, and every tell can be simulated perfectly. So verification becomes physical again: press rooms, live witnesses, controlled custody. But the modern world was optimized for speed, not ceremony, and ceremony is slow. When speed dies, the advantage shifts to whoever acts fastest. Not whoever is right, but whoever can distribute first and exploit the delay. Within 24 hours, scams mutate into perfect impersonation. A cloned voice calls a parent, crying, demanding an urgent transfer, and the fear bypasses skepticism. A video call shows a familiar face under bad lighting, pleading for help. Victims comply because emotional urgency is designed to outrun rational verification. Banks respond by tightening controls and freezing suspicious transfers. Fraud decreases, but innocent people lose access, and verification becomes a new form of instability. If your account is frozen, your rent and food don't pause. The protective measure becomes a second crisis for anyone living paycheck to paycheck. After the initial shock, the problem becomes social. Constant doubt is exhausting, so people retreat into tribal trust and familiar narratives. Families argue over which clips are real and which sources are safe. When proof is unavailable, belief becomes a social identity rather than a conclusion. Politicians exploit the fog with industrial plausible deniability. Real footage can be dismissed as fake, and fake footage can be defended as misunderstood. The liar's best defense becomes universal: "That wasn't me." Accountability collapses because the burden of proof shifts from accuser to society's broken tools. Police face a brutal problem with body cams and surveillance clips. If recordings are contestable, every investigation requires longer custody chains and slower court timelines. Courts shift toward process-based proof, controlled capture, signed logs, documented custody. Justice becomes more expensive, which quietly favors institutions over individuals. Reputation attacks become cheap and devastating for ordinary people. A teacher, doctor, or manager gets framed in a clip, and the screenshot spreads permanently. Even if disproved later, first impressions survive in group chats. Corrections feel boring, while scandal feels urgent, so audiences remember the first version. Workplaces grow cautious with video meetings and recordings. HR disputes multiply because what happened becomes contested, and conflict resolution slows down. Companies restrict internal communication to reduce risk. Sensitive decisions move offline, and remote work shrinks in regulated sectors that need trusted records. When proof is expensive, behavior changes. People reduce exposure because anything you say can be reconstructed into something you never said. Ordinary users stop posting faces, voices, or candid moments. Privacy becomes a defense strategy, and silence becomes the lowest risk posture. Now consider elections and crisis moments where timing matters. A deepfake drops late, and the correction arrives after votes are cast or protests begin. The harm is asymmetrical because lies are cheap to produce. Trust takes years to build, but it can be disrupted in minutes with one perfect clip. After a week, verification fatigue becomes real. People stop checking, then choose beliefs by group alignment because constant uncertainty drains attention. In that environment, the most persuasive story wins. Accuracy loses, not because people love lies, but because they can't afford constant doubt. Governments respond with rigid official messaging protocols. Fixed channels, scheduled briefings, and live podium statements return to rebuild a baseline of certainty. But official messaging creates a second fight. Who counts as official? Every restriction triggers accusations of censorship, and every takedown becomes political evidence. Platforms tighten identity verification and throttle virality. That reduces chaos, but it also reduces privacy and punishes anonymous whistleblowing. The internet begins to split into two webs. A verified web for authority and commerce, and an unverified web for speed, rumors, and influence operations. Months later, the economy adapts by slowing transactions. Large transfers require multi-step checks, and commerce becomes less fluid, especially for small businesses. Small businesses suffer because delayed settlement kills cash flow. Even honest sales can't survive if verification turns every payment into a waiting period. A new industry explodes: trust infrastructure and media notarization. Certified capture devices, secure press rooms, and custody logs become a paid service. That centralizes power in organizations that can afford certification. Truth becomes easier for institutions than for individuals, and inequality becomes informational. Now meet Lena, an ordinary professional with a normal life. A deepfake shows her saying something hateful in a short clip, filmed like a casual interview. Her colleagues see it, her clients see it, and it spreads. She denies it, but undetectable deepfakes erase her strongest defense: demonstrable fakery. Her employer pauses access until verification to reduce risk. Suddenly, her livelihood depends on a proof system she didn't choose and can't control. Friends become cautious because controversy is contagious. Even supporters avoid public defense, because public defense can be targeted with another perfect clip. Lena deletes old posts and avoids cameras entirely. She learns the new rule: exposure creates vulnerability, and vulnerability attracts attackers. After a year, society reorganizes. It doesn't collapse, but it becomes more permission-based and more skeptical by default. The main divide becomes proof-rich versus proof-poor. Institutions can certify truth through controlled channels, while individuals struggle to defend themselves. To speak with authority, identity checks become mandatory. Trust rises in some spaces, but anonymity and frictionless speech shrink everywhere else. The internet becomes a doubt engine by default. People ask, who benefits? Before, is it real? And cynicism becomes a survival skill. Cynicism can protect you, but it can also rot solidarity. A society survives misinformation better than it survives indifference to truth itself. So the real threat isn't fake videos alone. It's losing the social habit of settling disputes with shared evidence that both sides accept. If deepfakes became undetectable overnight, what happens next? Do we rebuild proof for everyone, or do we sell proof as a privilege?